great, but it's something in a restaurant or it's something where you need a big machine, and I think it's a little bit scary. So you have a machine here that anybody can buy and use, and it's kind of an amazing invention. So what are we working with today?
We're working with the Sous. So this is a sous vide machine, and it performs just as well as those really expensive sous vide machines. When I first discovered sous vide cooking, there were no sous vide machines available, and the things that chefs were using were these $1,200 laboratory circulators. I decided it shouldn't cost that much money to heat water, and that's how the Sous was born.
And so, I mean, for people who say, okay, well, why should I even buy this? I can just heat water and check the temperature. What does sous vide actually do beyond just regulate the temperature?
So that's really what it does. The difference is that if you want to cook sous vide without a machine like this, you have the unglamorous job of being human thermostat. And that's no fun. You have to sit there with a thermometer and change the temperature. It's not really a good use of your time or your skills as a creative human being. Machines are better at that. Let the machine do it for you.
Let's say we have a Sous for ourselves. How do we make a steak?
Sure. So the first thing you'll do is put your steak in a bag. If you've got a vacuum sealer, you can use that.
Of course, I just have one at home.
Well, you know, like the Food Saver Style or Cuisinart or other brands make them. You can use that, it's totally fine. If you don't, though, it's all right. You can use a Ziploc bag, put your steak in the bag, a little bit of oil will help remove the air, and then as you lower it into the water in your pot, the pressure from the water on the sides is going to force the air out the top, and then you zip the top closed. That's all you have to do.
Perfect.
So here we've got a steak. This has been cooking in a bath at about 52 degrees Celsius, or I can never do the math in my head, about 125 degrees Fahrenheit.
Easy.
So this is fully cooked. It's been cooking for an hour, but if you notice, it is sort of in an ugly duckling phase. It's kind of gray. It doesn't look super appetizing. So this steak, because it was about an inch thick and we wanted to cook it to sort of a medium rare, we chose that temperature. The nice thing is, though, it takes an hour minimum, but if you leave it in the bath for like all day, nothing bad happens. It's still medium rare. It can't overcook because the Sous is keeping the temperature at the doneness you want.
So this was great for really forgetful people.
Or if you want to drop your food in the bath, then go to work, come home, and it's ready for you when you're ready.
Sounds good to me.
So now the next thing we're going to do, because everybody likes a beautiful crust on their steak, we're going to pack this dry and then apply the crust on a cast iron skillet. The idea here is that when you're cooking a steak, you're trying to accomplish two different goals. Goal number one is you want even doneness all the way through. But goal number two is that you want this beautiful crust on the outside. In traditional cooking, you try to accomplish both of those goals all at once, and there's always compromise. Even if you do get the middle to a perfect medium rare, the outsides have turned a little gray, whatever. With sous vide, we say, okay, two goals, two cooking methods. So we're gonna get this pan super hot. I'm going to add some grapeseed oil. Because we're doing high temperature frying here, we want an oil that's got a high smoke point and won't break.
If you sous vide something, is it important to get that crust at a really high point so you don't cook it more?
Yes. For things like steak, you want to use the hottest surface you've got. If you have or are into blowtorches, this is a great way to put that crust on the outside of steak just using the blowtorch. Today we're going to do cast iron. You could also use a super hot grill, you could use a broiler, but you want the highest heat source you've got.
So yeah, from blowtorch to cast iron, you can do whatever you want.
I'm going to be pretty generous with the oil.
And you could eat it unseared, it just may not be as appetizing.
It doesn't have the caramelized flavors and the romanticism that we expect when we cook a steak. So we're going to sear this fast. We're not cooking the steak, we're just putting that crust on the outside. So again, as high a heat source
as you can possibly get.
Exactly.
While we're cooking the steak, what are other things you can cook in a sous vide machine that make your life easier and better?
So sous vide really shines on proteins. So steak, poultry, eggs, fish, lamb, all of that is really great because when you're cooking poultry, you're trying to just bring it up to a specific temperature for doneness. You can also, though, cook your veggies sous vide. And one of the things that's nice about that is that you can put them in a bag If you like your veggies coated in fat, you know, because that's super,
I do,
super
yeah.
delicious, you can get away with using so much less fat because they're in the bag. Just a little bit of oil or butter is going to coat everything versus the amount you'd have to use in an oven or on the stove.
Nice dream.
A little bit. All right, so we don't need to let it rest like you would for a traditional steak.
Great, so you can serve it hot and not have to worry about it.
Exactly. And here's the thing to see is that perfect even doneness from edge to edge. To finish this off, I've got a little bit of butter that I have whipped with truffle salt right there.
So you just don't want this to taste good at all?
No.